So the MEnvSc, so the Masters of Environmental Science, is a 12-month professional course-based master's program. You can complete the program full-time, so within the 12 months, or you can also complete the program part-time as well. Part-time students will usually take longer than 12 months to complete the program, usually looking at about 1.5 to 2.5 years, give or take, depending on the number of courses you would choose to take over your time with the program. We have 3 fields of study. We have the terrestrial and aquatic systems field, conservation and biodiversity, and climate change impacts and adaptation. We have our program directors here with us today to talk a little bit more about the programs or the fields of study, and what sort of makes these fields unique, and we'll get into that a little bit later. And then students in our program will also choose between either a research or an internship enrollment option. Students in our research option complete a 4-month research project with a faculty supervisor over the final 4 months of the program. And then those in the internship option will complete a 4-month full-time paid internship over, again, the final 4 months of the program. We do have a dedicated team of 3 staff here to help students in securing an internship that meets both their needs, their goals, and their interests. So like I said, the program is 12 months in length, and this is a standard timeline for someone who's doing the program full-time. So obviously, again, if you're part-time, your timeline might look a little bit different than this. You'll do 8 months of academic coursework from September to April. But in the fall term, you're really going to focus on cohort building. So we take all of our new students on a 3-day retreat to Beau Soleil Island. We'll have a chance to get to know some of our faculty, our staff, and obviously other students in the program. And then you'll really work on your career skills development and job search training with our internship team. In the winter term, for those of you in the internship stream, you're going to start applying to jobs through CSM and meeting with potential employers. If you're in the research stream, specifically if you're in the TAS or CCIA field of study, you'll be working on a directed readings course with a faculty member. And then finally, we have our summer term, which is really where you get to start your internship or your research project. But we do offer 2 additional courses during that summer term. We have our field course. This year, students will be doing a road trip of the Great Lakes. But last year, we did have students traveling to Costa Rica for that course, which is quite nice. And then we have our taxonomy course, which is required for all of our conservation and biodiversity students, but any student in any field of study is welcome to take this if it's of interest to them. And this will run over the last week, usually in April. So it won't conflict with your internship or your research project. So I'm going to talk a little bit about part-time studies for working professionals. We've done a lot of talking about what the program would look like if you were to come and do it full-time. But for our working professionals, we want to sort of touch base on some of the benefits of doing part-time studies. This is a really great opportunity to enhance your learning while not having to make a full-time commitment to the program. So some of the benefits of part-time study include maintaining your employment. So you'll have the opportunity to continue working full-time in your current employment while completing the program part-time with minimal interruption. And you can also use your current role to complete the 4-month academic internship requirement at the very end, as long as it is related to environmental science. Career advancement and increased earning potential. So a master's degree is a really, really fantastic way to make you more competitive in the job market and open up doors to career advancement. Real world application. So our program is really designed to give students the necessary skills, the hands-on skills to be successful in their career in the workplace. So you can join the program knowing that you'll be able to apply classroom lessons to your current career, enhance your skills and workplace contributions. Networking opportunities is a really great way to expand your professional network. You'll have an opportunity as a part-time working professional to be a mentor to other aspiring environmental science professionals within the program. And we also do a lot of alumni engagement as well. So you'll have a great opportunity to grow your network there as well. And finally, manageable tuition payments. So the full-time tuition will be spread out across the time that you're here with us doing part-time studies. And so it makes the fee payments a little bit more manageable for you. So these are just a few of the benefits of part-time studies. Again, a really great opportunity for working professionals who don't want to give up their full-time role to be able to still participate in our program. And then here are our 3 fields of study. So I'm going to pass it off now to our program directors just to chat about each field of study. So I'm not sure which program director wants to go first.
So hello, everyone. My name is Professor Karen Smith, and I'm going to describe two of the fields of study tonight. So I'm the director of the Climate Change Impacts and Adaptation stream, which exposes students to training that will allow them to work in the climate change field and work as sort of a bridge between the hardcore climate science modeling and the stakeholders who need climate information to make decisions. So this field is kind of this growing field of what's called climate services. And so students in this field of study will take courses related to the fundamental climate science and modeling, but will also take courses in climate change policy and climate change adaptation, and kind of get a comprehensive education around the climate change field. And this is a growing and emerging field. And so we're constantly updating the curriculum as we go, as the field really kind of expands. I'm also going to talk about the terrestrial and aquatic systems field of study. This is what we call our general program, in the sense that this program is almost entirely elective. So you're kind of at liberty to design the program that works for you and choose the courses that appeal to you and your career interests. So this field is really designed around addressing environmental pollution, such as contaminated sites. We have courses related to contaminated site remediation and brownfields. And then it's also offers courses related to environmental regulations, and specifically focused on kind of the Canadian and Ontario regulatory landscape to kind of prepare you for entering the workforce in Ontario specifically. So I'll just kind of jump back to the CCIA option for 1 minute. One thing I forgot to mention is that this option, unlike the TAS field of study that is almost entirely electives, the CCIA option has a more prescribed course of study. You have more required courses that you would take along the way in order to build that kind of foundational knowledge in climate science and climate adaptation and policy. So if you have any questions at the end, we can kind of address some of the specifics about these two fields of study. So I'll pass it over to Professor Stuart Livingston.
Okay, thanks, Karen. So hi, everyone. Great for you all to join us today and making the time to hear about the program. We're excited to share what it's all about and hopefully gain your interest for applying to the program. So I'm a teaching stream professor in the conservation stream of our program, teaching conservation policy, scientific literacy, and the plants section of our applied taxonomy course, which has two other sections which are optional. So these courses and our applied conservation biology course, which is taught by Professor Nick Mandrak, are the core requirements of the conservation stream. So similar to the CCIA stream, which is fairly prescribed, the conservation stream has a similar structure. In terms of thinking about our conservation students, preparing them for the employment world, so we often note that most of the positions in conservation in Canada, they exist at what we call the science policy interface. And for us to prepare students to be most competitive for those jobs, we seek to train them in the scientific methods of conservation, but also instill in them a knowledge of the policies that determine what science is done, and then further train them to be able to effectively communicate that science, both to other scientists, but also to practitioners, policymakers, and the public. So really, we want our students to be competitive in all of those skills, and really for lots of the different positions that our students end up in, that breadth of knowledge and skills can be equally applicable, whether you're in the federal or provincial governments, consulting firms, or NGOs. So happy to field any questions about the CV stream as we move forward. So thanks so much. I'll pass it back to Dr. Smith.
Okay, so I'll just share a little bit more information about the research option before we move into talking about the internship option. So one thing I will say kind of right at the outset is that you don't need to have a supervisor in mind if you are interested in this option. So this is something that you can explore with your program director, with the faculty members in DPES once you begin the program. So sometimes we get that question a lot, whether or not you need to have a supervisor identified right at the outset, and that's not the case. So you're welcome to consider this option and then explore the opportunities once you begin the program. So the research project, as Alana mentioned, is over that 4-month summer semester. In TAS and CCIA, you will do a directed readings course in either the fall or winter semester to kind of prepare for that research project beginning in May. And so you'll be conducting research under the supervision of a DPES faculty member, maybe doing some lab work, some data analysis, all sorts of different types of projects are available. And so the deliverables for your research project will be a final research paper that we recommend is kind of written in a research journal format. You'll be evaluated by a small committee. You'll have sort of a little mini defense at the end of the summer, and sort of you'll present to the small committee your presentation and your paper. So this is a funded option. The research project is funded with a $6,000 research fellowship. So it's something, you know, if you're interested in it, you will be supported through the summer with this option. So now I'll pass it over to our internship team.
Hi, everyone. My name is Anisa Dildren-Mirage. I'm one of the internship coordinators with the master's program. As Alana mentioned early on in the fall term, all students, both research and internship option students, will gain insight about the environmental industry and develop career skills and job search preparation skills in our seminar course. Specifically for internship option students, as we move into the winter term, that's when you'll be doing your active applications. It is a competitive application process. So you are applying to and interviewing for roles to secure your internship with the support of our team. So students will complete a minimum of a 4-month internship starting in the summer term, so in May, in an environmentally related role. And then as part of that, for their academic assessment, at the end of your term, you'll complete an experience report and poster presentation that you'll share back with our program directors and academic team to share what you learned and the skills that you developed on your internship. Within our internship program, we do have 100% secure rate over the last 16 plus years. That being said, the roles are not guaranteed. It is a competitive application process and does take commitment and work to be able to secure an internship. But there's lots of support from our team in helping to prepare your applications and prepare for interviews so that you are successful in securing your internship. The average rate of pay for your internship is anywhere between $19 to $23 an hour. Which does help to offset the cost of your graduate program. So something to keep in mind when you're thinking about the financial aspect of completing a master's program. In the graph below, you can see that over from 2019 to 2021, kind of a breakdown of the industries our students have worked in. So you'll see that a large percentage of our students do work in government, so all 3 levels, so municipal, provincial, and federal. As well in the not-for-profit and private sector. So it does show kind of a broad range of the types of employers that we do work with. And in the next slide, you can see some of the employer partners that we work with. We do have some longer standing partnerships with some employers, and then we're always working to engage with new employers year over year. So this can change from year to year, but it does give you a fairly decent idea of the types of employers we've worked with in the past. A lot of students will ask kind of where can this program take you? The environmental sector is very broad, and part of what we do here in the program is help you to learn about the opportunities across all industries. This chart here kind of gives you an idea of the types of roles or types of organizations that might hire, but you can see here that it ranges from both the public, private sector, as well not-for-profit as well. So there's a lot of opportunities to build a career in a multitude of industries if you choose to pursue a career in the environmental sector. Okay, and so now we're going to hear from some students and alumni who have been through the program before. So I'll just do a quick introduction of the full panel, and then they'll have a chance to introduce themselves and share a little bit about their experience in the program. So first we have Eric Dean, who is an alumni of the Master of Environmental Science program and is currently a PhD student here within our department as well. Saib Bukhari, who is also an alum of the master's program and a PhD student. Lakton Poon, who is an alumni of the master's program. Sai Nan, I'm going to pronounce this incorrectly, sorry. Nagesta Warren, I mispronounced it, I apologize, who's an alum of our master's program, and then Christine Achung, who is currently a student in the master's program in the TAS field of study. So each of our panelists will share a little bit about themselves, as well as sharing some of the highlights that they experienced here, both academic and non-academic within the master's program, and then share any advice that they might have for students thinking about applying to the program, or things they wish they knew before or while in the master's program. So if we can start with Eric.
Sure. Hi everyone, I'm Eric. As Anissa said, I'm now a PhD student in DPES in our Physical Environmental Sciences department, but I was in the Environmental Science Master's program, graduated in 2017. And at that time, I was in the stream that's the equivalent of today's terrestrial and aquatic systems stream. I went for an internship where I worked with small mammals, but the majority of what I studied, I think, focused on the conservation biology aspect of things. And I'd say, I think the highlights I have from that program, thinking about my time there, were in terms of academic and non-academic things that extended my experience beyond what I got in undergrad. So I think in undergrad, my experience is often like trying to chase towards the end or meet these certain goals so that I could fulfill my requirements without ever really having the time to soak in that learning. And so I was able to tackle some of the things that I was afraid of in undergrad and actually get a real grasp of them, things like statistics and programming, which I thought this time around I ought to give an honest effort with. And it was so much more of a pleasant experience this time around. And frankly, it did change my career, having learned those things. And then the other thing was just all the quality time I was able to spend with my peers. In undergrad, you have maybe a friend in a class or two, but you don't always see them around and you won't see them over time. But here, there's various people, all of which are similar in their thinking as you. You can make good friends and you'll see them from class to class and have all these places to spend time with them and discuss things, which I think for me especially helps really solidify what you're learning and make it just all that more fun. So I think my advice to you guys who are thinking about this program is you want to make sure you're in a position to really soak in this opportunity. It's a year long, it's not very long at all, but it's very rich. You want to make sure that you can take in as much of it, both socially and academically as possible. I would say, if I'm going to go to an all-you-can-eat event, I'm not going to go with a full stomach. I'm going to make sure I can really take in as much of it as possible. So I'd encourage some kind of thought as to how you might be able to do that. Part of it would be making sure that you have enough free time or that you have fewer commitments at that time to really take advantage of everything that comes your way. And then also make sure you keep an open mind about everything so that you try everything out.
Thanks for that, Eric. As usual, you were much more eloquent than I'm going to be. Hi, everyone. My name is Syed. I'm also a PhD student. I finished my Master of Environmental Science just last year, so I'm only in my first year. I did the research option and then I pursued research some more. So I was asked to share a highlight of the program with you guys. And this is sort of built on what Eric said. And for me, the highlight was just it was the sheer diversity in the cohort. You know, in my cohort, there were students from all over North America, and they had different backgrounds. They were working professionals, all with interesting work history, educational history. So as much as you learn from your professors and your classes, you also learn a lot from the people around you. And it's great because, like Eric mentioned, as opposed to your undergrad, you do spend a lot of time with your colleagues, and you do get to know them. And I still keep in touch with a lot of the people I graduated with. And a single piece of advice I have for you is, to put it simply, apply. Apply to the program, because it's you'll be doing two things. You'll be securing your future in a field that's growing very rapidly, and you'll be doing it at one of the best schools in Canada with the best support and the best professors in their respective fields. But also this is also building on what Eric said, is that when you finish your undergrad, you're sort of thrown into the workforce. You know, you got to find a job. You got to learn all these skills that you weren't given in undergrad, and you didn't have the opportunity to, because every semester is just about getting to the end of the semester. So the Masters of Environmental Science was a great bridge, connecting the workforce to your undergrad. And I think I really appreciate it for that. That's all.
Thank you. Hopefully everyone can hear me. And it's also nice to see, my fellow panelists that, from our event back in November. It's nice to see you guys. So I guess I'll start off by, first of all, thanking the Department of Physical and Environmental Sciences at UTSC and EPSA for welcoming me here. I've been an undergraduate and graduate student here at UTSC, so it's nice to come back and give back. So anyway, hi everybody. My name is Octin Poon, and I am currently an analyst at Environment Canada, and of course, former student in the Master of Environmental Science program here at UTSC. Having my classes during the height of the pandemic in the years 2020 and 2021. I chose to focus my studies on climate change, impacts and adaptation, and being quite popular for this program, I've decided to go with the internship option. For my internship, I was very fortunate to have landed with what was formerly known as the Canadian Environmental Assessment Agency, but what is now currently known as the Impact Assessment Agency of Canada, as this role helped ease my transition to a career in the federal public service, which was exactly what I was aiming for. Now, that being said, despite my experience being completely online, I enjoyed my time in the program. I mean, if I had to share one highlight, it would have to be the camaraderie. Hopefully that doesn't sound too corny, but it is true. I experienced throughout my classes, whether it be through the group projects or even individual assignments. Everyone in the program was always ready to lend a helping hand, and it's definitely something I noticed in this particular department. Not just from the students, but also the faculty staff as well. Their support was invaluable as I worked both on academia and on finding and getting a job and securing my internship. So if you are someone who is looking to build on your current experience or even kickstart your career in the environmental field, then I do have to say that this program, whether you choose the internship or research option, would quite possibly be the right fit for you. And like Syed said, just apply. I can easily say that the connections you make here, should you choose to apply to the program, will be invaluable moving forward wherever you may go. And if I do have to give a small piece of advice, for those, sorry, not for the research option, but for those of you who choose the internship option, when you do have to start applying to those jobs, I do have to say it's extremely important that you don't miss out on those jobs that you really want. I know that you have to find that balance between, oh, you gotta be realistic. Oh, am I qualified for this position? Am I not qualified for this position? But don't be afraid to apply to those jobs that you really are interested in, because you never know. Thank you.
Hello, can everyone hear me? Just want to double check. All right, my name is Sayantha Nagaswaran, or I go by Sai as well, shorter. I'm also a graduate from the program. Similar as Lockton, I was in the pandemic cohort of 2021. I was also in the CCIA stream, and I was also an internship student as well. For my internship, I worked at the Ontario Clean Water Agency as a research assistant. And currently, I am the Climate Change Response and Sustainability intern at Halton Region. So I guess my highlight for my time in the program is actually my internship. So my internship working at the Ontario Clean Water Agency was something that I never expected or envisioned at the beginning. However, my time working with the Innovation, Technology, and Alternate Delivery team there provided me a lot of cool experiences. I got to see a lot of unique technology that was being used to reduce greenhouse gas emissions in their processes, something I never thought I'd be able to see, and it was a very cool experience. In terms of advice for you guys, my advice would be to plan out the application process. There's some steps that you guys have to follow and that will be talked about later on. But for myself, what I remember is, for instance, the references. I did my undergrad at McMaster. I actually had to travel back, at that time I was in Toronto, back to McMaster, talk to my professors about the reference and stuff, as that is quite a process, so plan that out. Additionally, you might have to provide additional information, as I think I provided a grading scale, since McMaster was on a different scale. They used a 12-point scale. So two things, or a couple of things that I wish I knew before I started, or something that I think would be useful for you guys, is that a lot of the stuff that you learn in the program is actually applicable in the professional side of things. A lot of the coursework that I remember doing, I actually use currently in my position. Additionally, the professional development that you guys get is very useful through the mock interviews, the networking, and the resume and LinkedIn help is very useful for your professional career.
Hi, everyone. So my name is Christine, and I'm currently in the Master's of Environmental Science program right now, just on my second semester. And I also did my undergraduate degree at UTSC as well. So I just graduated that and then went straight into the master's program. So right now I'm in the terrestrial and aquatic systems field of study, and I'm enrolled in the internship option, but I have not yet secured an internship role yet, as the seeking cycle is right now during the winter semester. So the general advice that I may give to someone who's considering the master's program is to maybe, like, when you have a chance, to do some research on what type of jobs you may be interested in the environmental sector, like have a look at some job postings, just to have an idea of what kind of requirements they may want for a type of role you may be interested in, because the environmental sector is a very large field. For example, say if you might be interested in forestry, some job postings may specifically ask for a forestry master's rather than, like, say, an environmental science master's. So that's definitely something that when you have a chance to do your research on, as well as it would definitely be helpful to see what type of courses you may be interested in, as it is all, so the type of courses that the master's offers is all publicly available on the website. So you can always have like a search, make sure, and like have a look at what type of things you may be interested in. So then if you do get accepted, you'll be ready to know what you may be interested in. And the internship team is always like available if you want to have that one-on-one talk, in case you may not be sure yet of what you may want to go into in the future. So anything I wish I knew before starting the master's program is that so if you are enrolled in the internship option, some jobs may be posted as early as December, even if the seeking cycle officially starts in January. So during that fall semester, I would definitely recommend either like getting involved in clubs, or really making sure you build your connections with your professors to make sure you do have your references ready for when that seeking cycle begins. And in the summer before starting your master's program, in case you're someone who didn't have a chance to like perhaps get like a part-time job or do any volunteering during your undergraduate degree, which it may be understandably very busy at that time, I would definitely suggest trying to volunteer or try to get a job if possible, just to really build your experiences to even strengthen your resume even more. And one highlight of my master's experience so far, so like everyone else mentioned, just that connection that you are able to build with both your professors and your fellow classmates is something that's like a lot stronger during this master's program than during undergrad, just because of like, oh yeah, you're all entering this program together, so you're all new. So it's definitely easier to build those connections, especially with such a small team. And one thing that I will mention is that the retreat that is offered in September to Beau Soleil Island is definitely something that was very enjoyable. And it was nice to get to know people and to like experience the outdoors and like learn some skills like going on nature walks, or even we got to do a little fire starting activity. So that was definitely a big highlight, and I would strongly recommend going if you can.
So we are looking for applicants who have a bachelor's degree in either science or engineering. We're looking for that minimum mid-B grade average in your last 2 years of your undergraduate program. So that is your final 2 years of full-time studies, what we would use to assess your grade average to see if it meets that minimum mid-B. And then you have some additional requirements depending on what field of study you are applying to. So if you're applying to the TAS or the CCIA field of study, we are looking for applicants who have at least 2 half courses or 1 full course in chemistry, physics, calculus, and biology. And then if you're interested in our conservation and biodiversity field, we are really looking for someone with an undergraduate degree in biology or a closely related field. We do like to see applicants with a course in conservation biology in their undergraduate degree, but if you don't have one, that's fine. You could still apply to that field of study. You would just, if you were to be admitted, you would need to take that course in your first semester with us as an extra on top of your program requirements. And then we are looking for people who have appropriate postgraduate work experience or even volunteer experience in industry or government, and we will consider this as part of your application. So this is sort of an idea of what it would look like if you were to log into the application system. So this picture on the right side is what you would see at the start of your application. So if you haven't applied to any graduate programs at U of T, you would want to select the first time users option and then follow the steps to create your account. But if obviously you've started an application or you've applied previously, you'll select the returning users. You'll select the appropriate graduate unit, which is Department of Physical and Environmental Sciences. You'll select your attendance type. So do you want to study full-time or part-time? And then you will be asked to select, we call it here the rank 1 concentration, but as that is your field of study selection. So you only get to select one field of study that you're interested in applying to. If you are interested in applying to say more than one field of study, you are interested in say, let's say climate change impacts and adaptation and conservation and biodiversity, you would select in this section the one that you're most interested in, and then in your summary of interest, which is one of the documents that you'll submit as part of your application, you can indicate that you're also interested in this other field of studies. That way we are aware. Once you've done that section, you'll see here in this photo on the left-hand side, there's a number of different sections highlighted in blue. So you'll want to complete all of those sections. You're going to identify 3 references, and then you're going to pay the application fee of $125 Canadian and upload all your supporting documents. So what are the supporting documents that you need? You need unofficial transcripts. So these would be either electronic transcripts or scanned copies of your physical transcripts. And you do need to upload 1 transcript for every post-secondary institution that you have attended. You are required to have 3 references minimum, but you can upload a maximum of 5. So generally we do like to see academic references. So this is a professor who's taught you in a course previously, or a faculty member who maybe supervised you in a research project or a research paper or thesis. But we do also accept professional references. So sometimes students will do maybe 2 academic references and 1 professional reference, or they'll do 3 academic and 1 to 2 additional references that are professional. If you have been out of school for a long period of time, let's say maybe 10 plus years, and you don't have those connections anymore to faculty from your undergrad, you are welcome to submit mostly professional references. We like to see a CV or a resume, and this would sort of outline all of the work or volunteer experiences that you have. And then you'll complete and submit a summary of interest. So in the summary of interest, you're really going to take this as an opportunity to tell us why you're a good candidate for the program, why you're specifically interested in pursuing environmental science and our program in particular, where you think this program will take you, And then for the field of study that you're applying to and the enrollment option, so internship or research, you'll sort of talk about your motivation for applying to those specific areas. Obviously, we recommend that you proofread your document and really use this as an opportunity to tell us your story. I also always recommend to applicants to be very specific. So in the same way that you wouldn't submit the same resume or cover letter to every single job that you're applying to, you want to really, again, tailor your summary of interest to our program in particular. And then these are our deadlines here. So we've got 2 deadlines. We have our early deadline of February 15th, 2023. All international students must apply by this early deadline in order to be considered. And then anyone who applies by this early deadline will be automatically considered for one of our entrance scholarship, which covers the full cost of tuition. And then we have our final deadline of May 15th, 2023. So if you're unable to apply by February 15th, you have up until May 15th, 2023 to apply. And a completed application is one that has obviously the fee payment paid, so the $125 fee payment, and all supporting documents are submitted. So that also includes your references. So as we get closer to the February 15th deadline, if that's what you're interested in applying by, make sure you follow up with your referees to ensure that they're going to submit their letters by that deadline.
Hello, everyone. My name is Julie Kenville, and I'm the Academic Programs Manager. I've been with this program since its inception in 2005. So we've seen a lot of students come through the program and seen a lot of development and growth over the years. It's a fabulous program, as the students, Christine, and our alumni ambassadors have attested to. So there's a great deal of financial support in this program. As Elena mentioned, we have entrance scholarships, at least 10 that cover the full cost of tuition. Now, this is domestic tuition only. We also have a Think, Shoot, Change video competition, which I will address in the next slide. And it's open to both domestic and international students. It's a great way to supplement or reduce your fees. First place is usually around $8,000. We give first, second, and third place, and sometimes there's multiple winners in each level. So it's a great opportunity to create an original video, which I will discuss in the next slide. We have an Indigenous scholarship. We have need and merit-based awards. The Asclepius Awards, which are need-based, are basically you have to have applied to OSAP or an out-of-province loan to qualify, and you'll be automatically assessed by the department. In the fall semester, if you're out of province, you might be assessed by the beginning of the winter semester. We also have need merit-based awards. We have a Mary Winthrop Allen and a Brian Greenwood scholarship. They're worth $5,000 each, and usually there are multiple recipients for each of these awards. And for those students in the internship enrollment option, we have internship relocation awards. For those who need to travel, say, out of province to take up this internship, we will fund up to $2,000. There is an application you have to complete. And the same for the field trip travel award for those students who may, it provides opportunity for everyone to participate in our field trip. And as Alana mentioned, this year, they're traveling across the Great Lakes. We also have the research fellowship for our research students, $6,000 for the full-time students. And there is a fellowship for part-time students, which it's usually a little bit reduced if you're working full-time. And then we have other sources of support. TA, you can be a teaching assistant. Right now, the current hourly rate is $47.64. There are RA opportunities with professors. As Anissa alluded to, there are paid internships, on average $11,000 for the 4-month period. So our tuition for domestic students is just over $12,000. So you're offsetting almost all of your tuition through your internship. We also have work study programs that you can apply to. The hourly rate is $15.90, and you can work up to 15 hours per week. It's 200 hours maximum in the fall, winter, or 100 hours maximum in the summer. You can apply to OSAP specifically for the Master of Environmental Science program. And then there's a line of credit for graduate students as well. So here's more information about the Think, Shoot, Change video competition. As long as you apply by the early deadline of February 15th, you can participate in this competition. And you will have until April 1st to complete and submit your video. Essentially, it's an opportunity for you to be creative and create a 90-second reel or video and shine any light on an environmental issue that you're passionate about. Again, as I mentioned before, you can win up to $8,000. It's open to both domestic and international students, and you need to complete your application by February 15th to participate. So why choose the Master of Environmental Science program? There's so many wonderful things as our student and alumni attested to. It's, you know, you've got the 3 fields of study, 2 are more prescribed and 1 is very open in your course selection. We have approximately 30 plus courses you can choose from, about 15 in each semester, fall and winter. A few courses are offered in the summer, as Alana pointed out. There's ongoing professional support from the moment you hit the ground in this program. Intake meetings are being set up with our dedicated internship coordinators. These are one-on-one meetings where they get to know you, they get to know what your interests are, and steer you and give you guidance throughout the program. I talked about the financial support in the previous slide. The camaraderie and program community has been talked about. There is dedicated space in the environmental science and chemistry building, it's a fairly new building. It was built in 2015 to LEED Gold standard. So it's bright, it's airy, it's got a big atrium in it. And on the main floor is a Master of Environmental Science program lounge / workspace for students. There's computers, there's a presentation room, and there's even a kitchen. So this is your space where you get to gather with your peers and really share your experiences and collaborate. We also have the TPASC, which is the Pan Am Sports Center, which is just down the street from our building. We're essentially on the North Campus, for those who are not familiar with the University of Toronto Scarborough. And this is a world-class facility. It's over 300,000 square feet, 2 Olympic-sized pools. It's just a phenomenal facility, and you have free access through your dues that you pay for through your tuition to this facility. So really, it's something to take advantage of. You know, physical and mental health are so important. So, you know, self-care, look after yourself and take advantage of this wonderful facility. And then, of course, the rankings, University of Toronto, we're always the best university in Canada, best for employability. And then there's a recent sustainability ranking that just came out, and we are the top Canadian university, and we're only 2nd in North America to University of California, Berkeley. So many great reasons. Employers love University of Toronto graduates.
So we're coming to the end of at least the MEnvSc part. George will talk a little bit very quickly about the MSc. Just some ways to keep in touch with us. So for those of you that registered using the form, we would have asked you if you want to be added to our mailing list. And for those of you that said yes, you will be added there. We'll probably maybe send 1 or 2 more emails there before the admission deadline, just as reminders. You can always email us here. This is the email highlighted in orange. It's a little bit long at dpes-menvsc-program.utsk@utoronto.ca. If you send us an email there, we'll definitely get back to your questions as quick as possible. And we can answer any application, admission, program related questions that you might have. And then we're quite active on social media. So Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. That's our handle there for all of those platforms. It's at UTSC_DPES. I encourage you to sort of check it out and maybe follow us and see sort of what it's like for a student, you know, being a part of our program.